Welcome to A More Brilliant Life. We share inspiring stories from people who hit rock bottom, face their challenges, and transform their lives. Learn how you can rise above expectations, discover who you are, and reclaim your future.
I guess I was getting a little bit upset at the monotony of everything, the Groundhog Day of everything, of accepting that this was it. I thought that this was it. It's not gonna get any better. It's not really gonna get much worse, but it was it. And it just didn't seem like that should have been the pinnacle of what we were capable of as a family. I really wasn't present. I wasn't present for, I guess it was close to a year, maybe 9 months or something like that. I just wasn't, my mind was elsewhere. I wasn't really involved with the family.
All right. Welcome, Carlos Castelo, to A More Brilliant Life podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about people's life transitions, life transformations. We really want to highlight people's stories of change, of their decision to change their lives, to transform themselves, to think differently. And the goal really is just to show other people that change is possible. You do not have to remain stuck in your life. You do not have to live out the rest of your life in the same place. You do actually have that choice. And so that's what we're doing. We're highlighting people who have made that choice and telling other people about their stories, their transitions. Carlos, so just go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about where you come from and give us a little insight.
Yeah, Carlos, thanks for having me here. This is pretty cool. My first podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to share my story, actually. I think it's very well suited for your podcast.
Awesome.
And I was born in Toronto 50 some odd years ago, and everything was great. And my background is, my mother's side is from Argentina. My dad's side is from Portugal. Growing up, everything was great. Growing up in the 70s and 80s in Toronto was wonderful. Got married a little bit later in life, 38, had 2 children by the time I was 42. Had a job working for the Toronto Transit Commission, which is the municipal bus company in Toronto. Did 20 years of that. COVID hit. It was nice at the beginning because we kind of all had to spend a lot of time together, kids being at home and all that. And then eventually said, no, we're done. I think we're done. And 2.5 years it's been since we've been living in Costa Rica.
Oh, wow. So, okay, so you did 20 years. What stage in your life were you working for the Transit Commission in Toronto?
So I started in 2002 as a bus driver. My background before that was in hospitality. And then just by fluke, I was at home with the chicken pox, actually. I was 26 or 27, and my old man came over and started just having a regular chat. And I was kind of telling him that I was tired of the hospitality industry. And he told me that TTC was hiring, and they were doing a big hiring spree. And since I love to drive, he goes, why don't you try being a bus driver? And I applied, and I think within 2 weeks I was having interviews, and within 6 months, I was behind the wheel of a bus.
Cool. And you like bus driving?
I loved it. Yeah, I actually still, I miss it. I miss the interaction with the public, and I miss driving. It's something I've always loved to do.
And so you were 38 years old when you chose to get married. Is that right?
I was, so I was, we got married in 2013. So I was a couple months shy of turning 39.
Okay. Was that your first marriage?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what made you get decided to?
So it's kind of funny. I never thought I would get married. I just kind of figured that I was going to do 25 years at TTC as a bus driver, and then I was going to retire early as a single man on the beaches of Thailand. And why Thailand? It was just something that a good friend of mine had discussed. He was usually taking winters off from Toronto, the Toronto winters off, Canadian winters. And he would spend many months in Southeast Asia. And he would just describe how beautiful Thailand was and how cheap it was. And it just sounded excellent. So I was kind of, dating here and there. And sometimes I'd enjoy the single life. And, well, I love the single life. And hanging out with friends, getting together frequently. And then my wife came into the picture just by introduction through a mutual friend. And I told her from the beginning, as things started to get a little bit more serious, months into the relationship and close to a year, I kind of was very fair. And I said, listen, I don't want children. I don't want marriage. This is kind of my plan. this is what I'm going with. And, you know, she had a tough time accepting it and coming to the realization that she was possibly not going to have children, but she just kind of let it go and said, okay, we'll just see what happens. And fast forward current day, I have a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old, and we've been happily married for 13 years. I guess.
Well, whatever you guys are doing, it's working because I know your kids, and they're tremendous kids. You can just see. It's one of those things when you can just tell when there's love in a family by how your kids act in the world.
No, thank you.
And I truly I can just tell that whatever you and your family are doing, it's working.
Thank you very much.
They
Yeah,
are.
likewise, actually.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to the moment when, like, what were some of the ingredients that you were thinking about, that what was going on in your head when you were thinking about moving to Costa Rica or making this major life transition and leaving Canada?
This was so you know, when I would talk to Rosa, my wife, and I would say, you know, I don't think this is, you know, this can't be it. This we were figuring, you know, she's a child and youth worker. She was working, I was working. We had two pretty good jobs, you know, salary wise, we were doing pretty good. We had a house. We had what would well, I don't want to say normal, but what the standard, society standard, would think is a successful life. And, you know, I don't want to take anything away from that. It was wonderful, but we were making ends meet. It was doing pretty good. We wouldn't really save anything. By the time we were done all our payments and everything, we just really didn't have much left. But I thought for years leading up to, you know, COVID and whatnot, there's got to be something different. And again, the same friend that I referenced earlier, who spends the winters in Southeast Asia, and he had also been spending time in Costa Rica, and he was talking about Costa Rica, and he was the one that's always been kind of doing these little pushes to think outside the box. That that there was always a possibility. You're richer than you think.
Yeah.
Is the common phrase. And when COVID hit, we kind of started talking a little bit more, and my wife just wasn't into it. She was afraid of our kids not having the education system that they were used to in Toronto, and that moving to a third world country was going to be too much of a challenge, that it wasn't going to provide the security, the education that Toronto did at the time. And I guess after COVID, she started seeing certain changes in Toronto, that it wasn't what it used to be. The opportunities that we had as teenagers, and even before that, growing up, weren't there anymore. And we were starting to look at the future. And she actually said, okay, you want to really take a look at this Costa Rica thing? Don't show me articles. Don't give me books to read. Take me there and let's do a little recon mission. So yeah, we did. We in July 2022, we did a 14-day. Yeah, it was a 2-week vacation, kind of, but not really vacation. We didn't even go to the beach. We didn't do anything. We had a clipboard of a bunch of educational institutions that we were going to check out, houses and everything, and see what life was like. My wife, being from El Salvador, she kind of thought Costa Rica was going to be like El Salvador, which was very dangerous, very unstable. She, in fact, left El Salvador to move to Canada when she was 11. So the memories of El Salvador, Central American country, was not something that she wanted to go back to. When we did that 2-week stay in Costa Rica, she saw that it was very different. And when we went to the different schools to check all the schools out, we saw that the educational institutions were really, really good. They really took priority in teaching ways that we were very comfortable with.
Yeah. So what was your life like when before you came to Costa Rica, or say, in other words, I was just breaking into Spanish there. I almost said Osea. In other words, you know, so you said that there's got to be more to life, right? I mean, what was it that was kind of creating this humdrum life in Toronto, or
there wasn't?
What was lacking?
I can't really say that we were unhappy. We'll get into, you know, a certain small little period where I may have kind of got off the rails a little bit. That maybe was a bit of a catalyst for really making that push to come here. But generally, it was Groundhog Day. I was a little overwhelmed sometimes with. I had my daughter swimming. I had my son's karate classes. We had other extracurricular activities that we were part of a school council on the school. So there was things that were done every day that were kind of busy, and there wasn't really us time. We didn't find that quality time. It just wasn't present. I would wake up generally around 4 in the morning to go to work. I'd get back at 2 in the afternoon. My wife would take care of the kids in the morning, prep all the stuff for school, the lunches and all that, send them to school. Then she'd go to work on transit, public transit. And I'd get back at 2, which was just enough time to kind of come home and quickly shower and then get the kids from school and come home and prep dinner. And then my wife would get home at 5 and we'd eat dinner and just talk for a little bit, watch a TV program. Then the kids would go to bed and we would go to bed because we were exhausted shortly thereafter, and then wake up the next morning and it was again. Weekends were packed with all kinds of extracurricular activities. So there wasn't really enough time for us.
So you just kind of feel like you just went into automatic mode.
It really was.
And kind of felt a little bit like a zombie?
A little bit of that. Yeah, complacency definitely was something that we just said, okay, well, this is what it's supposed to be like. That's what we thought. This was the definition of a successful family. And, by many people's standards, it was. And we weren't unhappy, but there was definitely a side that we weren't really seeing or we kind of were curious about.
How long had you been considering leaving Canada before you actually did it? And where did COVID play into that?
So again, this was just dinner conversations about getting out of Canada, and my wife was always like, no, you don't realize I'm from a Central American country. It's not green. The grass is not green around the other side. COVID hit, and there wasn't really any discussion. We started, now the kids were being homeschooled. There was online classes. My wife was now working from home as well. There's a lot more time, and we started seeing that there was a bit of a benefit to that. There was a lot more time being spent with the kids. And then I don't know if there was like something in specific that really clicked, but now I just started to kind of see that we were able to make a change and go all in. I was starting to look at going all in and just making the big move. And I started talking to Rosa. We did, throughout all these lockdowns and all these restrictions that were happening or whatever, I was getting a little upset at all these restrictions, especially once, without getting too much into all the mandates and everything. I was forced to get double vaccinated to maintain my job. If not, I was going to lose my job and I was going to lose all the pension money that I'd put into it. So this was something that was really aggravating. And then Rosa was, she was forced to get the vaccines as well. And then I guess there was something that just clicked. Maybe that was the thing where it's like, okay, I just wasn't really liking these restrictions. It was something that was really bugging us.
Yeah. Do you think you would have left the country without COVID happening?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. I don't think so. I think that was the push. So again, I'm very thankful for this pandemic because it really changed our lives for the better. But I don't think it would have happened without COVID. There was a realization that happened as a result of COVID.
Oh, that's really interesting. And so, how old were you when you finally did leave Costa Rica? When you finally did leave Canada.
We got here January 21st, 2022. Yes, 2022. That's right. Yeah. So I was 39 years old. 49.
Okay.
Yeah. I celebrated my 50th here in Costa Rica. Yeah. Okay. So it's been 2.5 years that we've been here. And it's hopefully we don't go back.
Yeah.
This is home. It really is.
That's good. Any regrets then? No?
None at all. No? Okay. The only regret is not doing it sooner.
Yeah.
I don't know if financially we would have been able to do it sooner. I think the 20 years at TTC was a good time to pull out the pension that I had and invest it in another fund and sell our house, which when we did sell our house, it was good. So like I mentioned, this was an all-in thing. We initially, when we moved here, we were renting the house a little bit. Once we were about a year in, we said, no, let's use all that money that we can and sell the house and pay off all our debts and then see if we can make it here.
So would you call it a midlife crisis or midlife transition, or what would you call it?
My wife would. My wife would definitely call it a midlife crisis, yeah.
And because was she just kind of seeing the unhappiness in you? Because I mean, you said you weren't that unhappy. You were happy, but there was just Was she just kind of seeing the zombiness in you,
I
or what?
didn't think I was.
Uh-huh.
If you were to ask Rosa, my wife, yeah, she would have said that things were. We did get into a period there where I guess maybe it was a midlife crisis. I'm still not 100% convinced it was. Rosa is convinced.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there were certain things that were happening where uh, maybe I was having a hard time accepting that I was now getting older, and you know I had it just seemed like so different, something different. I guess I was getting a little bit upset at the monotony of everything, the Groundhog Day of everything, of accepting that this was it. I thought that this was it. It's not gonna get any better. It's not really gonna get much worse, but it was it, and it just didn't seem like that should have been the pinnacle of what we were capable of as a family, and yeah, I started doing things like I started really trying to get in shape, and I was going for a look, I guess, a certain look where my wife was looking at me kind of weird, and she definitely said that this was a midlife crisis. I was losing a bunch of weight, which is a good thing, but I really wasn't present. I wasn't present for. I guess it was close to a year, maybe 9 months or something like that. I just wasn't. My mind was elsewhere. I wasn't really involved with the family.
Do you think you have had a midlife crisis in the past, or like any sort of major pivot in your life, or was it always
No,
just kind
no.
of?
Like there was
Uh,
one point when I was 30,
yeah,
maybe 31, I bought a Mustang, and a
yeah.
lot of people would have thought that that was it. But I don't think it was. There was nothing really a change. I was enjoying single life and all that, but I don't think I ever had a crisis of any sort. This would be, you know, in retrospect, thinking about it now, would probably the closest thing to to a midlife crisis. I got into a sort of depression. I was having anxiety issues. I guess. Being with the family all the time was something new as a result of all these restrictions and lockdowns and stay home, stay safe, where it was the thing going around, and we were really together a lot. And I guess this was where that realization of, you know, this is the pinnacle, this is as good as it gets, and I wasn't fulfilled. There was something lacking. What it was, I wasn't sure. Now, current day, this is what was lacking. Being able to really enjoy free time, because there's nothing like it.
Did you experience any culture shock when you came to Costa Rica? Any major things that they do differently here versus Canada, Toronto?
Not again. So the background being Argentinian, I grew up with that culture in our house. You know, behind closed doors, it was a very Latino culture, right? So family was very important. Shared meals was very important, which is a culture that is something that is done here. So there wasn't that much of a culture shock insofar as certain things that are done differently, certain first world amenities that are available in Canada, you know, a tu alcance, as you would say in Spanish, at your reach. You can do anything you want. Here was a little bit different. So there were certain things that obviously we had to assimilate to, we had to adjust to, but nothing major.
So are you spending a lot of time with your family now in Costa Rica, or like as compared to, obviously when we were in the COVID lockdown, that was like 100%, but like, how would you compare how much time you're spending with your family now versus pre-COVID with your family? Yeah.
Yeah, so there wasn't much time. I all the holidays I was working, so you know if I was lucky, I'd get Christmas Eve off, and we would be together. But I had to wake up at 4 in the morning on Christmas Day,
Oh,
so I
wow.
would miss the Santa coming or the kids waking up and seeing that Santa had brought all the presents. So I would miss those. I'd miss all the major holidays, basically because I'd be at work.
Was there ever a day that the bus system didn't run?
No, 24/7, 365.
365.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
There's no
24 hours.
holidays where they shut
No,
it
no.
down.
And then
Wow.
when you start, because it's a seniority based, when I first started, it was nights. It was, Tuesday, Thursday off, so, but luckily, I wasn't married or anything. So when I did get married, I had established a bit of seniority already. So I was able to get better hours, but the days off weren't great. They were, again, like maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. If I was lucky, I'd have 2 days off together. And then as seniority started getting better, I started getting what are called early morning regulars, which was the great shift. You'd start at maybe 5 in the morning and you'd finish between 1 and 2 in the afternoon.
Hmm.
And those worked with us because of the schedule of my wife's work and my work. She was able to wake up with the kids. I was able to pick them up. So it worked like that. But again, there wasn't much time, to answer your question. There wasn't much time being spent, quality time at least. Again, we were lucky enough to still have the dinners together, but it wasn't much.
No, those are my kind of hours. Well, Kylie and I love the early morning here in Costa Rica, especially. Just it's always gorgeous every day at 5 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. Like when that sunrise hits, it's just I think it's just the best time of day in Central America. And then it's with the 12-hour cyclical sunrise sunset, almost it's consistent throughout the entire year. It just you can just fall into this groove, into this rhythm, and you kind of get into the circadian
Yeah,
rhythm.
there's not
Really,
much
really
not much
locked in.
change. Yeah,
No, right?
and Toronto was the same. Once I started with TTC, it was I was forced to have that schedule. But and then I started really enjoying it to the point where on my days off, I'd still wake up probably by 6 a.m. And my wife would always make fun of me because by 9:30, I was already just doing one of these, and I would fall asleep.
Yeah.
You come here to Costa Rica, and it's really like that. Sun is up, maybe a 15 to 20 minute difference from all year, where the sun generally is up at around 5:30 to 5:40, maybe 5:45, and then it gets dark anywhere between, I would say, quarter to six to a quarter after six. That's really the pocket. So again, the circadian rhythm just it ends up just being steady, and it's great. It's healthy. It's great. I'm up every morning here, and then I'm not working or anything, but I'm still up 5:30 in the morning, and I've got chickens that I got to take care of in the morning, and the kids get up early, and then we're pretty much all in bed, probably sleeping by 9:30 latest, and usually it's a little bit before 9 for myself. Rose ends up staying up a little longer to watch telly, but not myself. I'm pretty much out by 9.
So, how long did it take for Rosa to come around to the idea to get to Costa Rica? Was it like a year or two, or like a few years,
Yeah, so
or
it took, well, for me, pitching the idea every so often and her just saying, oh, that's just one of these crazy things that Carlos is thinking about, to once COVID hit and me starting to really talk serious about her. And so I would say for her to really take it seriously, I would say it took about maybe 6 months, just
Okay.
after COVID, 6 months to
Uh-huh.
say, okay, book us a ticket.
Yeah.
Let's go to Costa Rica to see what's going on. And then once she came here and we did all the work that we did and we came back and we really had like a really good family meeting with my uncle and grandmother that are like my parents. And we said that this is what we're thinking about. And Rosa said, I explained to her what the residency process was like. We had already discussed, we talked about what the enrollment in school would be like. Health insurance, all these things. And Rosa said, okay, go for it. And she thought, this is what she tells me now, she thought once I started seeing how much residency was going to cost, that, to enroll them in private school here was going to be a little bit pricier than we initially thought. She thought that I would just pull the plug and say, okay, no, forget it. Let's just continue with the Groundhog Day of what it's like being here in Toronto. And I just kept on going. Once a rolling stone gathers no moss, and off we went. And I started going, and she just started. She was in awe of the fact that I didn't back down, and here we are.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. So, what other areas did you check out in Costa Rica? Like,
So we definitely wanted to be in the Central Valley.
yeah,
So just because number one, we didn't, as wonderful as beach life sounds
Right.
and everything, waking up every day in 35 to 40 degree weather,
right.
it becomes a little taxing.
Yeah.
Also, the amenities aren't available as they are here in the Central Valley for any kind of medical emergency. We initially moved down with my uncle and grandmother. So my grandmother being 90, 89 at the time, sorry, we needed somewhere where we'd be able to have, a hospital nearby. So the Central Valley, not only for accessibility, but for climate. It's basically where we are now in Grecia here is, it ranges during the day at 25 to 28, 29, maybe 30 degrees. And it's steady. It's never super hot. It's never super cold. For me, it's extremely pleasant. But we also checked out places in the Central Valley. Atenas was one of them, which they say is el mejor clima del mundo, which is the best climate in the world. I disagree, but people from Atenas would say that's accurate. It's a little bit too hot for me. We also checked out places in Heredia and Alajuela, but we really found Grecia was the place to be.
Yeah, yeah. Heredia and Alajuela are way more populated, right? It's just way more dense.
A
And
lot more dense,
yeah,
yeah.
did you ever go up to La Fortuna or Arnal or anything like
No,
that?
no, it
No.
was a little bit too far
Yeah.
for us. It was about 2 hours from here, from Grecia. But yeah, we never did. We visited, but it was we basically just came down once we came back to Toronto after all our notes and we looked at everything and we really found number one, we found a school that we really liked for the kids. So we kind of went with that. Once we figured out the school, we started looking at houses in the area. And once we found the school in Grecia that we really liked, we were happy because it just everything seemed to be all the puzzle pieces started to fit together. The climate, the amenities, the size of the town. It wasn't too large. It was quaint. It wasn't too small. It wasn't like we were really out in Boonville. It was really, really good. And then we ended up finding a house that we really liked with a big enough property to do gardening and have chickens and have our dog Ruby, who came with us from Toronto, let her run around. So yeah, it was a good decision.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, great minds think alike. I mean, because we met each other through our kids became Maya and Maya became best friends.
That's right.
We both named our daughters Maya, and spelled the same way too, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Maya.
Yep.
Yeah,
But no, we love Santo Sofino. We love the school. We love just yeah, like you say, all the amenities, the climate, everything is just great here in Grecia. And my wife and I, we actually checked out Guanacaste, the peninsula, checked out a bunch of different areas. But like you said, the heat of the beach gets old fast.
yeah, it
And
really does.
yeah, and the humidity of like the rainforest climates as well is just a bit much. But there is that, yeah, I think Grecia and Atenas and like the Poas area, it all just has this perfect middle Goldilocks feel
It really
about it.
does. Yeah, no, I agree.
Mhm.
One of the things that we found challenging moving here was we had built such a wonderful community in Toronto where we were. We were a block away from the school. We were in a pretty dense community, and we had a just wonderful friends and everything. And we were very social. We were getting together at people's different houses every weekend, and we'd have shared meals and kids. We had maybe 12 kids, all the same age, that would go to the same school and they'd get together. And coming here basically alone, not knowing
Yeah.
anyone at all, was very difficult. And we were very concerned for our kids because we social activity and that is so important for our children. Luckily, they had each other and they're only 18 months apart, so they were able to kind of do okay assimilating. But it was a challenge, and for my wife too. For Rose, it was very difficult because she's a social creature and she needs to. I am, but I can totally be alone. I'm fine with it. There's enough stuff going on in my head where I can be entertained, but Rosa needed it, and I started seeing how the lack of that social activity was really impacting her.
So yeah, no, like for sure, we had the same experience. One of the hardest things was leaving our social life or leaving our social group of friends that we had, spent years building up, and then coming to Costa Rica and starting afresh and just trusting you will find that new circle of friends, you'll find the new people. But so now, I mean, how long did it take now? Do you feel like you're there where you have your social group together again, or is Rosa getting enough
Yeah, so we
interaction? Yeah.
we noticed, and this is just a recent development. I would say the past, I would say maybe few months, maybe 3, 4, 5 months at most, is when we started to realize, okay, now we're there. There's traction. We've developed a little community, which includes yourself and Kylie and Maya and Avery, and other friends that we've met through school, which has been great. But it took a while. And luckily, when we first moved, I had my friend, who's the friend that I've referenced before. He was renting a little cabina that my neighbor had. He was renting that for 5 months. So during the Canadian winters, I'd have pretty much one of my best friends living right next door. So he'd come over to watch hockey games, or we'd go for walks or whatever. So I had that close friend that was with me that helped me with the adjustment process. Rosa didn't, although, my friend was, a friend, but it wasn't one of her, friends, her very close friends. So that was something that helped me a lot. Then when he would leave, it would be a little bit tougher and whatnot, but eventually we started working, and Rosa would really work hard at the school. She's become a member of the school community insofar as she does certain programs and she does things there. So she's become really, really, I don't want to say popular, but well known in school, where everybody, and that's been very important to her. And it's kind of gotten, it's expanded into developing this community that we lacked.
Yeah, the school for us has just been an automatic place to create that social network and to meet people and to, we've already, we've been invited to people's country clubs and stuff like that just via friends of the kids.
Yeah.
So how have you found like the Costa Rican people in terms of being accepting or not accepting of, foreigners like us coming in, or do you have any reaction toward that?
Yeah, it's obviously different.
Yeah.
So I think as a foreigner, as an expat, but being fluent, same with Rosa, we're fluent in Spanish. It's made things a little bit easier insofar as being accepted as maybe one of their own. Right. So that, I think, has been a big thing. Knowing the language was obviously a very big factor in making the decision to move here, too. So it makes the adjustment process a lot easier. Mm-hmm. It's a softer landing,
for sure.
Knowing the language. So any kind of thing that we would have to do insofar as paperwork or dealing with lawyers, which it becomes, as you know, it's a complicated, tedious, lengthy process to do with residency and purchasing a house and doing all that, and even a car, and dealing with all the different facets of municipalities and legal terms and all that. It was a lot easier. So for people, parents of the kids that are compañeros of our kids, it made things a lot easier. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a little bit more accepting for us. Mm-hmm. They were very sweet. I found that was one of the biggest things that we found the difference. You're walking down the street and random people just say buenos dias and hola, ¿cómo están?
Yeah.
How did you wake up? ¿Cómo amanecieron?
Yeah.
Is the big one, which is not common in Toronto. You're walking down the street, everybody's got their head down. They're either looking at their phone or they're plugged into something, and there's just not that wonderful Pura Vida feeling that you get here.
Yeah, I've experienced that as well. I mean, people are always waving at you. They're always saying hi, and even like just casual acquaintances. They're always recognizing your presence. It's
wonderful.
Yeah,
it really is wonderful.
Yeah, and it's we lived in a rural area in Minnesota. And you got some of that vibe just because everybody knew each other, right? You knew who each other was, but we certainly lived in the dense areas of the Twin Cities as well, where you saw the opposite extreme.
Sure.
But no, Costa Rica has been just so welcoming for us, and our language barrier is definitely present, but we get by well enough. The one thing that I find in myself is it kind of forces you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like you gotta get that bank account open. You gotta figure out how to do car repairs. So like you're just gonna have to figure out how to get uncomfortable and get out there and meet those people and fight through the language barrier, and just kind of, because that's one of the biggest challenges that people have as they're learning a new language is you have to screw up. You have to sound stupid because you sound stupid when you try and speak the language.
Right.
And so it kind of forces you to like get used to that.
You got to fall on your ass and get back up. Yeah.
And let your ego go and
well said. No, absolutely. And even for me too, again, like we're fluent in Spanish, but there's things that are different.
Right.
And I may speak their language and do it, but the processes are completely different from what I am used to in Toronto, right? So there's a lot of times that you may sound like a fool, right?
Yeah.
Like you go to a bank machine and I want to make a deposit of, cash or whatever, but you can't. The ATMs here don't allow deposits. So you got to go in a lineup of, anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes in a bank just to make a deposit or something. So exactly like you said, like there's a big learning process that's involved, but the only way to do it is, when in Rome,
Yeah.
figure it out.
So what do you think it is about people like us who just want more adventure, want to feel more alive, are willing to take these leaps? And what's the difference between us and like somebody who's just fine with their groundhog day and like I'm almost a little bit envious of that person because most most of the time they seem like they're living just a happy, you know, straightforward life and you can take it all the way to retirement and be just fine, right? But so what is the difference between people like us who want that adventure, who want to see more change and growth, and the person who just kind of lives out their lives.
It's a great question, and um, I am not envious of those people.
Okay, good.
I am envious of us, to be honest
Uh-huh,
with you. And at the
uh-huh.
risk of sounding, conceited and full of myself, but I am still in awe
Mhm.
of what we've done, of people like yourself, like us, that we've done this. The ability to think outside the box and to really know that it's attainable. Like this is attainable, and a lot of people just don't see it. And I think we are role models for a lot of people that wish to do it, but they just think they can't.
Right.
And I think that it's a lot easier than one thinks. Now, it's not easy. The process is not easy, and it involves a lot of effort. There's a lot of effort, but it's doable. Like I would have never thought, never, and I still pinch myself sometimes, and I give gratitude all the time to the universe for allowing us to do what we did, to kind of giving me that little nudge to say, okay, let's try it. But like here I am, and I'll speak on behalf of myself. I'm 50 years old. I'm retired, as a bus driver, and my wife is a child and youth worker, and we did our time there. We were able to make some wise financial decisions. Buying a house in 2014 and then selling it 10 years later was something that, there's obviously some luck involved, and but at the end of the day, we were able to really, and we did it with children,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
It's one thing doing it with, if it's just me by myself or just me and Rosa,
Right.
okay, well, if we fall flat on our ass, it's fine. It's just us. We're now responsible for two other human beings,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At the time, Emilio was 6 and Maya was 8.
Yeah.
These are really challenging issues, right? That we're going to be able to say, okay, if we fall on our ass, this is going to be a big problem. We're involving children here, what we're responsible for. And we were able to do it. And again, I just think it's courage and having the ability to think outside the box and really sitting down and discussing it with your partner and say, I think we can do this.
So what do you think the blockage is for somebody who might have that fleeting thought like that? I kind of want to do X or whatever. I want to start that business. I want to move or whatever it is that their dream may be. What's the blockage that
Fear.
fear? You think it's fear?
Fear,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's fear. Fear of the unknown,
Mhm.
number one.
Mhm.
Fear of failing.
Mhm.
The fear of failure, where people will say, "No, I don't think I can do it. I'm just going to go back to what is comfortable, the complacency. I'm just comfortable in this. I know I can do it. I know I can. I got a job. It's fairly secure. I'm making enough where I can make ends meet. This is comfortable. It doesn't get much better than this. This is fine. I'm good. I have food on the table, and that's fine. And kudos to those people that really do find happiness in that. And not all people are built built the same. And maybe there are a bunch of people that are truly happy with that. We weren't,
Right.
and we decided to really take that leap, and it's a leap. And at the again 2.5 years in, I still can't believe it, but it's a lot easier than we thought.
Do you have a sense of what helped you get overcome that fear? Like, how did you get past it?
Hmm.
I mean,
It's
because
a gamble.
yeah,
It really is a gamble. And what was it that really gave me that extra push?
yeah,
And in retrospect, maybe it was this little midlife crisis that kind of made me think, and Rosa think, it's like, okay, maybe we can almost like reset. This was like a reset our family, reset our relationship, because we were struggling at one point during this midlife crisis. Rosa and I were struggling, and there was thoughts, at least in my mind, where this may not work out, and you start thinking of separation and what's going to happen to the kids and everything. You start going through these awful thoughts, but they were definitely present. And then somehow we worked on it, and we fought, and I went through counseling. I went on meds. I was open to fixing whatever the case may be, whatever. Right.
so you kind of had to get pushed to your edge basically before.
To the edge of,
Uh,
of putting my family at risk, and having our family broken apart, right? And there was something where it seemed like it was really, it was gonna happen. And I was breaking down, and Rosa was breaking down, and I don't know what it was, but we kind of just tried one more shot, and we went to Cuba on a vacation with some friends to see if that would kind of throw a little bit of spark back into it. And I can't really pinpoint exactly what it was, but it seemed like we were right at the breaking point of losing everything insofar as our family. And then this seemed to be something that may have helped. And again, I wouldn't recommend packing up and leaving
right.
as a solution to fixing a broken marriage, because that wouldn't work. I think that our healing process and our fixing things started in Toronto. And then we started seeing the possibilities of what can become of our family, what can become of my relationship with Rosa. Forget as parents, but just between us, right? Like, I mean, I think we were putting a lot of focus on just being parents, and we kind of lost each other, our relationship. And it was something that we started building on in Toronto. And as we started to get a little bit of traction with that, we figured, hey, you know what? Things are going good. Let's try to see how much better it can go.
Yeah.
And
So
this was it.
I'm always kind of fascinated about like this fork in the road. Like, what is it about people like us who can see this path either going in one direction or the other? I mean, there's plenty of guys out there who just refuse to face face the problems and take the challenges on, and then typically that leads toward a separation, right? And there's divorces are everywhere. I don't know what the statistics are.
50%
Yeah,
is
but
is the
right,
common number. Yeah.
right. So people are getting divorced all the time. So what is it about, like, how is it that you were able to make that choice to work on yourself, to recognize and face the problems, and so many other people are are unwilling to and don't want to face the reality.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
don't know. I
Uh huh.
can ask you the same
Yeah.
question as well, right? But like
Yeah.
for me, I had a little bit of influence with my friend who was constantly telling me, there's more out there. You can do it. Again, richer than you think was a thing that I kept on replaying in my mind. Financial.
What was your friend doing that like he was traveling all the time to Thailand? Is that
So
what
he
you
was,
said?
yeah, he's
Yeah.
older.
Yeah.
Basically he was always managing to work the least amount possible to make ends meet, and really putting a value on free time. And we'd get together when I was in the hospital. This is when I met him. I met him close to 30 years ago. We met at the restaurant / banquet hall that we worked at. And we had a lot of weekdays off together, right? We would basically smash in 40 to 50 hours on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so we would spend a lot of time together during the week. And we would play guitar and go for walks and do a bunch of stuff. And he always knew the value of that. And he was always pushing it to me. And he once I got married and had children, he knew that it was a lot more challenging to find it. And right at the beginning, it was when it took me a while to adjust that I was now a father. Maya was 3, 4, 5 months old. I'd come home. Rosa was home with Maya all day, and I'd say, "Yeah, I'm home from work. I'm going to get together with buddies." and I wouldn't spend time there. And there was an adjustment there to realizing that, hey, no, I got to change the way I did things. And but he always said there is a possibility of something that I'm just not seeing. I had blinders on, and I would see how happy he was, and then he ended up, usually taking 3-4 months off in the winter. In the industry, it was basically we were doing a lot of weddings and all that, and usually in January, February, March, he would take off, and it would be Costa Rica, it would be Southeast Asia. He had lived previously in Costa Rica for a year. He actually owned an island back in, I think it was I want to say the 90s, early 90s.
He owned an
He
island.
owned an island, yeah, which has since washed up outside of Capos. He had an island, and he built a bridge to land and amenities, and he lived. It's a crazy life, but he was always saying that it's possible,
Wow.
right?
So
And
you had a role model. You had
I
yeah,
did. I
you had
had
somebody who basically had a free mind and could think outside the box
yes.
to kind of show you
A hundred
the
percent.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to give him
Uh-huh.
too much credit because
Yeah.
his ego's already inflated as it is. But yeah, he knows who it is, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, there was. I probably wouldn't have been able to do it, or at least I wouldn't have had the forethought to do all these things if it wasn't for the little influences. I at the end would always, I was conservative insofar as the family man, and you got to work, and you got to bring home the paycheck, and you got to do this. You got to. Usually, I wasn't thinking outside of that small box. Right? This was success. This is what I was programmed to think. This is it. This is the pinnacle.
And I'm still just fascinated why some people are growth minded and can see that they need to change, that they need to work on themselves, and other people just they get to old age and they're still the same person that they were in high school or or wherever they were. They hit this wall in their life of growth, and I don't understand why. What the difference is, what the mindset difference is in somebody who wants to grow, and it's almost like when people get stuck in their lives and they aren't growing, like some people, like it just sends them in this spiraling depression, right? But then other people, like they just thrive on that.
Mm-hmm,
They're just fine being exactly where they are. But at any rate, that's
There was, yeah. I
yeah.
was I was in that, just through 3 to 4 years ago, I was there. I was in this downward spiral. I was depressed. I was on Wellbutrin. I was going to therapy and just trying to, you know,
But at
make
least
what I make what I had set up, insofar as work and family life, try to find little pockets of joy,
yeah,
which I was having a real tough time finding it, right? And
yeah. But I mean, at least you were willing to try therapy. There's so many guys out there where
yeah,
you bring
it's
the word up,
yeah.
you bring up therapy, you bring up medication or pills or whatever, and they just instantly shut down and say, "Oh no, no, absolutely not."
Maybe that was something that kind of made me. I wasn't happy being on the meds because like, with my character, my personality is very all over the place. I can be a 1 and I can be a 10. I found that meds would put me between a 4 and a 6 always. When I'm excited and I'm happy, it's radiant. Like I'm really out there. As all the people that know me know that I'm like that, but I wasn't like that. But that was maybe that was something that kind of helped me maybe just bring my thoughts to a different level and kind of figure things out. I knew I wasn't happy uh, with the meds. I knew I wasn't happy without the meds.
Yeah.
Counseling was kind of really kind of making me think of some certain possibilities, right? Maybe that did help a lot in the process. But I was always open and married to a someone who's in the social services and social worker scene. It was something that I was always willing to do, and I find it imperative. And for there's a lot of men out there that say no, they wouldn't. I think they need to just kind of drop that and really just become vulnerable. I think it's opening yourself to the process. Becoming vulnerable emotionally is very important for people that are struggling.
Yeah. And I mean, and the reality is, at least for me, you have to face it. You have to look at it and really pay attention to it, like whatever it is. And so many people like are unwilling to even sit down long enough, and the only time that you're able to look at it is when life slows down and you're not constantly taking the kids to all your various
Right.
practices, or or the most typical thing is the second like these scary thoughts start popping in your brain. Oh, I got to check my email. I got
Right.
to pull out
Right.
my phone. I got to
Right.
do it. I got to. Oh, and so they, people just keep themselves busy because they're so afraid of the truth appearing within them, I think.
I think that's the common thing is fear.
Yeah.
What separates us from other people that wish they can do it, or
Just got to
it's
face it.
it's unreasonable. You can't even think like that. No, we've done it, right? And I hope I inspire, and I
Right.
try to tell certain friends in Canada it's doable, right? We were the guinea pigs. We went in there. We're 2.5 years in. Things are great. They're wonderful. We're doing well. The kids are happy, which is the most important thing. The kids, we have like certain little family meetings every, it used to be every 2 to 3 weeks. Now it's around maybe every 2 months. And, we often ask them, would you like to go back? And there's no way.
Oh,
My son says, I never want to put on gloves again. I don't want to deal with the winters, which was another decider, right? We didn't have to worry about, 6 months of, winter,
yeah.
you know?
Emilio has just such a Latin heart, right? I can just see it. He just vibes with Ticos
I know he
so
gets
well.
it. He
Yeah,
gets it.
yeah.
Maya was a little bit more challenging, being even 18 months older. But it's obviously the older the kids get, like Avery being a little bit older than Maya, it's a little bit tougher for them. But Emilio just went right in. He was all in, and Maya's getting there too. They've come a long way. They're around. Emilio sounds like when he's speaking Spanish, which they didn't speak a word of Spanish, which was our fault. We should have spoke Spanish at home in Toronto. But hey, now they speak Spanish 2.5 years in, and they're fairly fluent. Emilio a little bit more. He sounds like a Tico. He sounds Costa Rican. All the little intonations and everything. It just makes me laugh. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch the transformation with us, but also watch the transformation in them and watching them develop into the little mini adults and the characters that they're developing.
Oh, but the magic is in the struggle. I think the magic is in
Well said.
yeah. That's where it all happens.
Yeah, and it builds resiliency. Like you mentioned before. You fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. There's no fun in always staying standing. It becomes I've used the word before, complacent. You're just there, like I don't know. It's this one life. We're here on Earth for this one shot, and if you have the means and you think that it is a possibility, then go for it.
Yeah, yeah. So give me what is a day in the life for you right now? So you wake up, 5:30, whatever. You feed the chickens.
Yeah. That's basically it. We wake up. So on Monday to Friday, we wake up at around 5:30. Kids wake up at around the same time, and we get ready for school. And I go out. We have a pretty big property. It's around 3/4 of an acre, and we have 5 chickens that we take care of. We have the dog, so. Yeah, the morning is get ready for school, let the dog out, let her run around, feed her, go to the chickens, pick up some eggs. 5 chickens, usually we get between 4 and 5 eggs. Feed them, drive to school. Kids start school at 7 a.m., as you know. So that's kind of nice, 7 to 2:40. And then once we are back home from dropping off the kids, Rose and I usually go out for a walk. Really nice walk. And here the walks are not just like a flat walk like they are in Toronto. These are all hills, right? So you come back pretty sweaty. We're at 1,150 meters in altitude. So initially when we were doing the walks, it was tougher. It was a lot tougher.
1,150 meters. Okay.
Meters, yeah.
I was picturing 11,000. I was like, wait a second.
Oh no,
okay, no, yeah, in my head.
Meters, yeah.
And okay, 1,150 meters, yeah.
Yeah, that would be, I guess, around 30. I don't know. I'm going to say around 3,800 feet. If that sounds about right. And we go for walks. Yeah, we do that, and then we're back. And usually we'll do a little bit of maybe food prep. I've got a lot more time now to play around in the kitchen, so I'll experiment a little bit more and do some prep. And Rose will usually go on the computer for a bit and work on some of her programs that she's trying to implement in certain schools. And I will maybe take a little nap, maybe around a 45-minute nap after lunch, and then we get ready to go pick up the kids. Once the kids come back, we'll hang out. They'll play a little bit. Maybe if there's a little bit of schoolwork to do, which is not that much. Usually, all the schoolwork, generally speaking, is done at school, and then watch a little bit of telly, and that's it.
Are either of you employed? No, right?
No,
Yeah,
no.
you're living on your pension and your investment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, that. Yeah, it's we transferred the vast majority of our money to Costa Rica. We invested here,
Yeah,
and we live off set income. Enough for us to eat well and pay the bills. Not enough to be extravagant. I drive a 2007. We do go to the beach maybe every, I would say, I don't know, maybe every 3 months. Maybe we do little beach getaways four
but that
times a year.
that 2007 Hyundai is worth like 10 grand in
Yeah,
Costa Rica,
yeah. We
right?
actually paid 6 million colones, which
It's like
is
12
around
grand.
12 grand
Yeah.
American for a 2007 diesel Tucson that had 220,000 kilometers, although it registered only 60,000
Yeah, right.
kilometers. But yeah, it's working.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, the cars in Costa Rica are insane. But
Yeah, weekends usually it's there's we got Emilio enrolled in soccer, so there's usually some training and a game, but it's a lot more chilled out than what it was in Toronto, and he's enjoying it, and that's also built a bit of a community with the parents there, being part of this soccer group. That's been really good, and Maya goes to gymnastics in a nearby town called Boas. She's around. It's around maybe a 12-minute to 15-minute drive, and she goes Saturday mornings. And yeah, we spend a lot of time together. I have the privilege of waking up every morning with my children and having breakfast with them and having dinner with them and talking to them all the time. And holidays are always spent together. It's just it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
no, it shows. It really does show. And so I'll wrap things up here. Just what are your hopes for the future? You like plan out next 5, 10 years. Kind of how do you hope things to pan out?
We're so 5-10 years. We're in such a good space right now. We're all happy. My wife is happy. I'm happy. We have a wonderful relationship between us as husband and wife, and as mom and dad to two wonderful children. If we can just ride this wave, we'll be extremely happy. Moving maybe, let's say, another 10 to 15 years down the road, now when our kids are maybe done school and they're really set, then we can start looking at something different. Rose and I have oftentimes talked about doing something where maybe we can do 5 months in Toronto, have a little property there, perhaps something quaint and small, not in the city, but somewhere outside the city where we can still enjoy nature, things like this. Which in Ontario, there's tons of it. If you just go even an hour outside the city, there's many places that you can enjoy nature. And we would enjoy the summers in Toronto, which are wonderful. And then as soon as a little bit of the chill hits, maybe around mid-October, we come back here and we stay here 6 months. I think that would be something great. We'd be able to get the best of both worlds. Spend time with our adult children here in Costa Rica. Enjoy Costa Rica. Enjoy the friends that at that point we're hopefully going to have a lot more of a social circle than we do now. And then also be able to enjoy the friends and family that we have in Toronto, which we do miss. Yeah, that's one thing we miss.
Well, anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to say?
No, it's doable. Yeah. It's doable. That's one thing that I can say. If I can just leave with the last piece of it, and I don't even want to say it advice, but just it's doable.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Costa Rica is not for everybody. Like, we're not advising anybody that Costa Rica is it for them, right?
Right.
It's all about like what is that little thing, that little seed within you that arises occasionally that maybe you got to listen to, right?
Yeah.
And for us, it was Costa Rica, but for anybody else, it could
Yeah.
be, it could be opening that the bakery or the welding shop or whatever
Yeah.
it may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really is. It's just a matter of letting go of those limiting beliefs, this whatever that fear is that's holding you back, and
eliminating the
taking
ceiling and just going with it. If there's something that's really exciting, and don't just dismiss it and say, I can't do it. No, it's doable.
100%. All right, thank you, Carlos.
It was a pleasure to talk.
Appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
Sounds good.
Hey, thanks for listening. I hope you got some value out of hearing Carlos Castelo's story. If you want to find out more about us and our mission, check out brilliantlifejourney.com.